Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. And as always, we got dope guests. So before I let my guests introduce themselves, hit the like button, subscribe to this. You're watching this for a reason, and you just need to continue to watch this so I can continue to introduce you to some dope entrepreneurs. So subscribe so you can always be on top of what I'm teaching and the people that I'm bringing. And if you don't subscribe, then you're a hater. And so just let me know if you're a hater or not. Because if you're a hater, then you're not gonna subscribe. But I would like to let my guests introduce themselves, man. Tell the people who you are.
Yeah, what's up, people? I'm Coach Frank Clayton from Accelerated Results Coaching, FC Consulting and Training. Been doing mind performance coaching for about 5 years now. 15 years in the game as far as athletic performance as a whole.
Okay. So what's the name of your company again?
Accelerated Results Coaching.
Accelerated Results Coaching. So there's a lot of coaching, a lot of type of coaching.
Right.
So let's dive into like, what is your coaching? What do you coach?
Well, it's funny because when we hear coaching, right, we either think of sports or athletics.
For sure.
Sometimes you even think of like life coaching, which can have a bad rap depending on who you're talking to. But what I do is kind of a combination of both, right? I work with a lot of athletes and sometimes people who are outside of the athletic spectrum. They just may be, have an outcome that they want to achieve. So performance, right?
Yeah.
My company, we say life is a performance.
For
So I work with musicians, I work with salespeople, I work with parents,
Okay.
right, who may want to be, they're here, they want to go here, right? But sometimes they have, things going on. They may not know the process to get there. They may have some mental blocks to get there. They may have some life challenges they need to get over.
Okay.
And so as a coach, that's my job to help them. I'm a mirror for them.
Okay.
Because they have all the answers,
Yeah.
right? I don't provide the answers. I get to ask the really good questions that
make
help
them
them realize that they have the answers.
Sure.
But mainly right now, I work with a lot of athletes.
Okay. So, because my mind went to like you out there in the field teaching them how to. Are you training
Right,
fitness,
right.
weight, anything like that?
I mean, I do it all. I do it. So there's a physical component to what I
Okay.
teach. Like when I work with athletes, right? We might be looking at performance, right? We want you to get faster. We want to strengthen this, tighten this, stretch that, right? So that's my previous profession.
Okay.
Still in play, right?
Okay.
I'm a physical trainer for, like I said, 15 plus years. But the performance part is now I'm in the mental space. So I get to train their body and their minds.
Okay. So let's kind of deep dive into that because as a coach and when I put on events, right? I always try to make sure I have somebody that can talk about mindset because I say nothing that I do matters if you don't have the right mindset or if that you don't believe that you can do. If I'm coming, let's say I'm teaching you about content. If you still got this mind block or this hurdle of like how content is so hard and how you can't do it and how it's too much, then nothing I teach you is going to be right because your mindset still is wrong, right? And so you're saying that you are helping people with the mindset or having the correct mindset so they're able to perform whatever task that they have.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So coach me. I'm coming to you as a client.
Okay.
I need help with this podcast. Okay, I'm doing this podcast and I just can't seem to I just don't think that it's going to work. I feel like I'm wasting my time and wasting my money and I'm feeling like I want to just give up. So I'm coming at you with these problems and so it's just like I'm ready to give up. Fuck this shit. Knock this mic over to all of these. Forget Cam, and I'm not coming no more.
Right.
What?
Right. So first we start off with, right, belief,
Okay.
right? It is psychologically impossible to work on something that we don't believe will work, right? And so first I'm asking, what do you believe about this podcast? Why did you start it?
Yeah.
And then, you'll be able to tell me why. And so now I need to know what you believe about this podcast, right?
Okay.
And that's a question that only you can answer, right? And if you like, I'm ready to give up. I'm thinking, what have you been doing that hasn't got you the results that you wanted?
Okay.
Right. So we start with belief. Like,
Let's start.
what do you
Okay.
believe about this podcast?
Okay. Honestly, I believe that this podcast can be like one of the top podcasts in the Bay Area, helping to introduce entrepreneurs to their target audience or to a wider audience because a lot of entrepreneurs can't seem to get their name out there to build the brand awareness. So my intention of this podcast was number one to increase my digital footprint, but then also to help entrepreneurs be shown to a wider audience, right? So I believe that it can be impactful, but then at times I'm be like, I don't know if it's really worth it or
Okay.
if it's gonna do it.
Okay. And so, why is that important to you?
Why is what part important to me?
Building the podcast or helping
Uh,
other entrepreneurs.
okay,
Why is that vision important to you?
money.
Money. Okay.
For I'll be honest, like I have a family to feed, right? I
Okay.
want to. I want. Listen, I want. I want my chain to be big, like this, and I want. I don't want this digital watch. I want diamonds, right? Now, I do want all of that,
Right, right.
but so I'm not going to act like money isn't a thing, right? I think a lot of times when people be like, "Oh, your why has to be this and that," but it's just like I don't want to be broke.
Right.
Like that, like shit, I struggled. I
Money
don't
is
want
a-
to be broke.
money is a great
And-
motivator.
right? And so that's part of it.
Okay.
But then the other reason is that as an educator, like I see a gap with a lot of entrepreneurs that's trying, and I really would like to help them, especially in the social media world, right? And a lot of people have social media, but also people aren't on YouTube. So it's just like, okay, if I can create this platform on YouTube and then I can bring in other people that I can help them, right? So that's the second thing. I actually want to help and be a vessel for entrepreneurs and help them, grow their audience and introduce them to new people.
So money. I heard money. Then I heard help people.
For sure.
Right. And so both of those things are important. Right. So what would money? Why is money important to you? You said to help your family.
Right.
Right. And so that's really the motivator. Right. I want to see my family do well.
Okay.
Now, the second part, as far as helping other people, entrepreneurs, what number is the right number for you?
That's a very good question.
Because you're creating the content, right?
For sure.
Do you feel like you ever helped anybody with this content?
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah,
meeting
for
your
sure.
objective.
Yeah, I okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you said that. So this is one of those like doctors are the worst patients
Right.
type of thing, right? So I know in helping people, I'd be like, you have to be more specific because if you say you want to make money, I'll give you $10.
Right.
That's
You're
making money.
Right.
But that ain't what you want. So a number needs to be something specific needs to be attached, right? And I've actually never thought about that. Like, when do I be like, whew, I did my job.
Right.
I've helped, right? So I don't know. Let's say, and then I don't like I think small thinking. I don't like when people be like, I mean, not that I don't like it, but I just feel like it's small thinking. When people like, as long as I help one person, I'm happy. And it's just like, I don't want to just help one person. I want to help thousands.
And that's the thing. So for me as a coach, right, only you know
Yeah.
the thing that you want.
Yeah.
For some people, it's the simple fact that I did it and I've at one point doubted myself about doing it.
Right.
So the fact that I did it, I even created something that I got one like on is a win.
Okay.
And so as a coach, I want to know what's your win. And I want to get really specific about what your win is,
Okay.
right? Which is why I asked, like, what number is the number? If I got 10,000 entrepreneurs or if I got 10 that are doing X, Y, and Z. See, one of the things we don't do sometimes is get clear.
Yeah.
And so now that if I have
Clarity.
a clear thing, I know how far I am away from it, how close I am, what adjustments I need to make, right? And so even if, and just because you have one really clear goal doesn't mean you can't have another goal
Another one.
that you're working towards that may be not so clear, right? If I'll ask an athlete sometime, like, what numbers you want this year? I want X amount of rebounds. I want this many assists. Great.
For sure.
But is improvement also a goal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, so maybe we didn't get 200 rebounds. Maybe we got 180. But last year we got 150. So we didn't hit the very specific goal, but we hit our objective goal
For sure.
of improvement.
I like that.
And so those are, nothing has meaning. It's my boy. See, nothing has meaning other than the meaning we give it.
Yeah.
So we get to define our wins.
Okay. So let me put a number to it because as you're talking, I'm sitting there thinking about it. Okay. I want to have 20K months consistently.
Okay.
Right. And okay, I'll even dial it back. I don't know. I feel like that's too small because I've had them.
Right.
So so this is like conflict, right? Okay. Right. 10K months happen, right? 20K months have happened. But it's like none of them is consistently. And so I don't ever, and some people try to jump so far that they miss the in between or they never reach it because they're missing. So I don't want to jump and be like, oh, I want 100K months consistently because yes, I do.
Right.
But let me work on getting 20K months consistently. Let me work on 10K months for 6 months in a row, right? In doing my specific thing, right? Because if you I have a 9 to 5, and so if I do this and do this and do that, and collectively put everything, then it can be like, oh, okay, I made it. But I would say I want 10K months consistently from my coaching business.
Got it.
Right, and then let's say, in order to do that, that is, let's say 5 clients a month. So let's say if I go 5, 50, so 60 clients in 1 year can help me get 10K months consistently.
So I don't know if you noticed what we just did right there. Right. I asked you a question, and then I just let you figure it out for yourself.
I on my own, man. Damn, I'm supposed to be getting coaching, and you make me do it myself. Like,
you know it.
Here?
Like, people know.
Yeah.
Right? But it comes down to the belief.
For sure.
Like, what has to be true in order for you to do that? And so then we get to kind of dissect, right? Like you said, you have a 9 to 5. At some point, we got to reconcile, man, that 9 to 5, at some point, I'm going to have to let that go. Not right now because I need it. Yeah. But once I start doing X, Y, and Z, because my ultimate goal is this, I have to figure out when do I detach. Yeah. And so some of the times it's not so much what we know, it's what we don't know we have to give up.
For sure.
And kind of planning for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense because, right, when we think about, this gets into the faith portion, because a lot of it is irrational. So it doesn't make a lot of logical sense. And so we just have to kind of stay focused on what the goal is long enough for that to become our reality.
Okay. I like that. And yeah, so and as you're saying that, it's just like you said something like the 9 to 5 you're gonna have to give up eventually, right? And it's just like, man, I ain't had a 9 to 5 in forever.
Right.
And I just did it. And I only did it because shout out to my friend Dari, Coach Dari.
Coach Dari.
She is the principal, and she was just like, Terry, I need you to come help me.
Right.
And I was like, hell no, I'm not going back to work. She was like, no, at least for 1 year, you gotta come through. Right. And so I've taken the job, but the perks of it is like I have a facility, I'm able to use it, I can use it on weekends. I'm building a photography studio, a podcasting studio there. So the perks of it is going to be beneficial to me on the entrepreneur side. Plus I get paid, right? And so therefore it's like one of those things of like, let your job fund your business, or you learn on someone else's dime to get better, right? And so one of the skill sets I want to learn is photography. I want to learn photography. Right. And so I'm building a photography studio. I have this organization that's coming to teach the kids. And I'm like, I'm gonna sneak in there. Okay, how you do that? Right. Don't teach the kids that, but teach me too. And so it's just like in doing that, I'm also learning these new skill sets. So it's beneficial for me, right? But then it's also I ain't about to be working forever, right? Doing this because, but it's also good because of the consistent income. So that money can pay the bills, and then whatever my entrepreneur money I can use to invest and do whatever else I want to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of that. But okay, so the belief I have set goals. So now what's next?
So now it's just working. It's just so a couple of different things, right? And we always get this out of order. And you depending on what coach you talk to, they talk about this, right? There's a concept called be, do, have, right? You
Be, do, have.
might have heard it before, you might not have heard it before, but be, do, have is kind of how, as a coach, I teach folks to get the things that we want.
Okay.
A lot of times, especially in school, right? You working in a school and you'll see this with students. And first of all, let me just say shout out to Dari, right? Dari helped me out on my course building and all that stuff for what I do with my business.
Dope with
and
the
so
course
I
building.
love it. Curriculum, all that.
Yeah.
But going through the school system, we are taught, if I do the work, I get the grade, and then I get to call myself an A student, B student, whatever it is, right? And that's how we've been taught from kindergarten up. So that becomes entrenched in our mindset, right? That I have to actually do something to get something, and then I get to call myself something.
Okay.
And coaching is totally different. I told you it's irrational.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense
For sure.
commonly. But in coaching, I teach you got to actually be that thing first.
Okay.
Because then that makes the doing a lot easier.
Makes it easier.
And then I get the results of the being, right? So, for example, I do this with the students. I ask them in the classes sometimes, I say, who wants to be an A student? Hands go up, right? I want to be an A student. What do you have now? I have C's. Okay. Do you want to know how to become an A student?
Yeah.
Yes. Be an A student. What? Just be an A student.
For sure. So
Tell yourself right now, I am an A student. Why? Because I need to be able to see myself
for sure.
as an A student. What does an A student do?
I was just about to ask that.
An
was
A
my next
student
question.
puts in a little extra time. They ask the teachers questions.
Right.
Right? These are the activities. If I can be it, then I know what I need to do.
For sure.
The doing or the being is in the doing.
Okay.
And the doing is in the being.
So I want to be a great coach.
Right.
So in order for me to be a great coach, I need to start doing the things that a great coach does. So I need to actually be a great coach, right? So
Well, you don't need to be it. You need to see yourself as a great coach.
okay.
You need to see yourself as the coach that you want to be first. Right? So who is Terry as this top coach? It's funny when I was going through one of my coaching certifications, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the certification, the coach asked, he said, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 of how good of a coach you are. And I said a 7. And he was like, interesting. He was like, okay, what would it take for you to get to a 10? I was like, man, I need to study the material a little more. I was like, I need to coach a few people. I went through this whole laundry list. He said, how long would it take you to do that? I said, maybe a month. He said, can you see yourself coaching people in a month being really good?
Yeah.
He was like, close your eyes. And I was like, yes. He was like, did you feel that? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
He was like, you didn't have to do all that stuff you just said. You already felt what it feels like to be a 10.
Wow.
He said, just be a 10.
Yeah.
You can do all the stuff after
For
you be
sure.
a 10.
Yeah.
You're a 10 right now.
You are.
You
right
will
now.
get better. He was like, I've been doing this for 20 years. You don't think I still have my manual I refer to?
For sure.
You don't think I'm still learning?
Yeah.
He's like, just be a 10.
Yeah.
That change. I was like, I'm a 10 already.
I'm a 10
I'm going to
already.
get better, but I'm a 10 right now.
10 already.
I'm a 10 where I'm at.
So it is that like one of those like you gotta kind of be as a kid say delulu in the beginning because there's a reality versus type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can say I'm a great basketball shooter,
Right.
but when I get out there and I actually
Proof is
shoot
in
the
the pudding.
basketball, I ain't that good. So like, what's the balance of like reality and factual
Right.
versus like Okay, this may not be for you, or
Well, it's right. Results are going to tell you where you are. So you never want to be so delusional you're not paying attention to data,
okay,
right? And so you want to be able to have, you want to be sound in your thinking, but the most confident people are delusional.
yeah, I believe
Most
that.
confident people, I was thinking about that yesterday. The most confident people are delusional, right? But when you are delusional and you are willing to do the
To
work,
do the work
that makes the difference.
for
So
sure.
again, you're paying attention to results,
Okay,
right? And you're measuring progress and outcomes, right? But that never has to change. Like you know where you ultimately can be, right? It's about possibilities. And I got to be able to stay in that possibility long enough in order for me to do the work.
order for you to
A
do
lot
the
of people stop because the belief is not there. And so if I don't believe it, then again, it's psychologically impossible to work on it.
to work on it, right? You are your belief system,
It's your belief
right?
system.
It's your belief system, as they say, and you can't be what you don't believe,
Correct.
right? Okay,
And,
that's
and so
interesting.
that's the starting point. A lot of people believe that's the end point, right? When I'll do a workshop on confidence, and I ask, parents want their kids to be confident. I want to see my kid. I play in all this money. When they
Right,
get in the
right,
game, they don't do the stuff that they learn.
right.
They timid. It's like, well, there's three ways. There's three ways to develop confidence. And the first way is you confide in the evidence. That's what most people do. I trust what I've seen before. I
Okay.
trust what I've done before.
Mhm.
If I do something, I feel more confident that I
Confident in
can do
doing
it
it.
again.
Yeah,
That's how most people develop confidence. But what if you've never done it before? You don't feel as confident.
right.
So how do you get confident at something you've never done before?
Is it not just by doing it?
You con yourself and then you go find evidence.
Yeah.
You con yourself into starting. Just start. Then you go find evidence. And
Okay.
most people don't want to find evidence because
Let's-
their results.
Let's back up real
Okay.
quick because I don't want to. I don't want to lose that. You said you kind yourself, like KIND.
Con.
Con yourself.
You con
Okay,
yourself.
you con yourself into
Starting.
starting because it's like okay, like even though you haven't done it, you like I can do it.
Look, I can just start.
I can just start.
I can
Yeah.
just start. Get yourself confident enough to start.
Okay,
Then you can find evidence
because you started.
because you started. You can't
So
find
now you
evidence.
got the-
You've made up evidence because
Yeah.
you've never done it. Your evidence is I can't do it.
Right.
But if you con yourself into starting, you can find evidence. And the reason most people don't start is because they tie the results to their worth. And so if I don't do well, I must not be well. If I don't
Okay.
do good, I must not be good. No, that's not it's not a measure of your worth. It's a measure of your strategy.
It's your method. And so I link my results with my capability.
Correct.
And so therefore, because I'm just starting, I'm not doing so well. And so now I'm saying that I'm not well because
'Cause
I
haven't-
didn't do so
Correct.
well. And so now I quit and give up.
Right. That's
Right.
and that's learned through educational systems.
So when do you actually so in this beginning time, I don't tie my results in with my capabilities. But as I become better, then I do tie my
Never do.
results. You never,
Never
do.
do.
So
Because
if
it's never
I-
an indicator of your worth. It's always an indicator of your strategy. You could be
strategy.
in business for 20 years, doing great, have one bad year, lose everything.
yeah, that's true.
And in that losing everything, now I'm horrible. I lost everything, right? So you can see how if you tied your self-worth to your success, you also tie it to your failure.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, and you know what? It's crazy because I always say like attention is a hell of a drug. And it's like you see celebrities and different people live it up and they are the person.
Right.
And then it's just like things come crashing down and then it's just like now they on drugs and they doing this and now they just completely fell off. And you're saying is because a lot of people tie their results with who they are. And so then once the results stop happening, and now they're feeling like they're a failure.
Correct.
And that's okay.
So that's two. I want to finish the three, right? So we
Okay.
got confide in the evidence, we got kind yourself and find evidence,
Uh-huh.
and then the last way is create an identity, right? An identity, and that's what we started talking about, the being portion of it,
Right.
right? If I can just create this identity, I can see myself as this thing.
Yeah.
Then I'm more confident to go do the thing. I have to know who I am,
Yeah.
and I have to be comfortable enough in who I am to detach my self-worth
Right.
from my results. Then I can go full speed because it doesn't matter whether I win or when I lose. I know I'm a winner.
For sure. Because else comes with it.
Yeah.
Right. L's always going to come with it.
Always gonna come with
Nobody is a winner forever. All right, I like that. I like that. And so because and I never thought about it that way as far as like tying your results in with your capabilities or tying your results in with like your mindset, right? Because I always felt like if I do well, I have 10K, 20K, 100K months, or I'm making this money. Like, those are my results. And because I got good results, like, shit, I'm him. I'm the
Right.
man. I am him.
Right.
Right. And so it's like, but then when I'm not getting that, I also feel like, okay, I'm not the man.
Right.
And so
That's
I just need to be the man all the time,
All the time.
no matter what, because that belief is going to help carry me through the highs and the lows.
Right. And you get to look at, then you start to separate, right? If I'm him all the time, then I get to look at my strategy.
Right.
I get to look at my strategy. My strategy might not be him. And so now we get to adjust because if I can hold the vision of I'm him, I'm one of the dopest coaches in the world.
Right.
I'm the coach's coach.
The coach's
Right?
coach.
That's how
Myron
I
Golden.
how I view myself. But I know there's work I gotta do. There's people I gotta meet. There's hands I gotta shake. But the vision I have of me being a coach and learning all the time, not that I have to know it now.
Yeah.
I don't got stuff figured out.
Yeah.
The only thing I got figured out is who I believe I am. Everything else I gotta learn and
Yeah.
continuously relearn and adjust. But I'm okay with that because I know none of that has anything to do with my self-worth. I'm wonderfully and divinely made. So whether I'm here or here, if I'm here, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. And that was a learning process. I used to hate when teachers graded my paper. Hated it. I used to hate when I
Yeah,
graded my paper. I didn't.
for sure.
It was a lot of times I didn't proofread just because
Right,
I didn't want to
right.
go through and be like, "Oh, I made this mistake."
You didn't want to
'Cause that
recognize
was
your
part of my
mistakes.
self-worth. Making mistakes
Mhm.
made me feel like a failure.
Okay.
Till I got coaching, I got work, and I realized, oh, they are mutually exclusive.
They
Have nothing to do with each other.
nothing. Okay. That is actually really good because I am going to like rewatch this video and like write some stuff down and I'm gonna steal it. But I ain't gonna let you know I'm gonna steal it.
Right.
Because I'm gonna just implement it into my coaching business because that is no, but for real though, that is really good. That's really good. And I didn't even think of it that way. And so it's just like I just learned something new, right? And that changed my belief. So in bringing it full circle back to like, okay, my beliefs for this podcast, right? And so I do look at the analytics sometimes and like I haven't got a video over let's say 200 views yet.
Right.
And so number one, in retrospect, like as the people that I'm around or the different influencers that I've worked with, like they 100,000 millions views and stuff like that. And so I do the comparison in a sense,
There
right?
it is.
But it's also like I'm comparing my starting point. Like I've only been doing this for like 2 months.
Right.
Right. So I'm comparing my starting point to their like 10th lap.
Right.
Right. And so it's just like I'm doing the comparison game. And then when you do the comparison game, it can be discouraging because you like, dang, like why my number's not like theirs or why I'm not on that level. And so then that can be discouraging, right? Now, for me, I, as a social media guy, like, it doesn't bother me
Mhm.
because I know that I'm just beginning. But I'm not gonna lie and sometimes like wish and hope for that it does get better for me,
Right.
right? And so I think that I know the comparison game can
Mhm.
hurt you. But then I also know like you have to run your own race in the comparison. For me, it's the seesaw, right?
Right.
Yes, you do want to compare just so you can see
Right.
where you want to be, but you can't compare as far as like right now, I want the same results
Yeah, and again, it's how you're using that comparison.
for sure.
It's all about the mindset. It's like, how am I using that comparison? Am I judging myself because I'm not getting the results that they're getting?
Hmm.
Is that useful for what I'm trying to do? If it's not, then I don't do it. But it comes with the awareness that I'm judging myself
Yeah,
or I'm judging this or that and the other, right? And so those are the things that keep us from moving forward. Judgment is such a powerful tool. We do it to ourselves all the time. And so just in the moment, we can't change something unless we become aware of it. And even having those types of thoughts is and becoming aware of it, I gotta be aware that I'm judging the judgment,
right,
right? We
right.
think about gym fitness, right? People come, uh, again, I've been doing fitness for a long time. People will start and they'll stop. They'll
Yeah,
start and they'll stop,
that's me.
right? And a lot of the time it's because, oh, I missed the day. Now I'm judging that I missed the day. Now I feel bad. So I got to feel comfortable. So
Yeah,
let me go eat something. Let me go do something that makes me feel comfortable, that regulates my nervous system. And now I don't feel as bad, but I also judge that I missed the day. And I'm not going to continue with it anyway because I actually, don't feel worthy of it on a surface level, kind of underneath the surface. It's like, I didn't do it. I didn't keep my word.
right.
So now I'm not worthy of it. And so I don't keep moving forward. And that just happens over and over again. So becoming aware of the judgments, becoming aware of the things we say to ourselves is like the first step.
Yeah,
It's like, it's so powerful. But again, we like comfort.
yeah.
We really do.
I try to say like you can lose the day but still win the week,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And or it's like going to the fitness is like, dang, I ate bad. I ate a bad lunch. So now because I ate a bad lunch, I'm gonna eat a bad dinner.
Right.
And then it's just like, you know what? I'm
Well,
gonna just
I
start
just
over next week.
well, you know what it is too, and I learned this, and I'm so grateful for, like I said, mentors and coaches that I have. I learned a lot of it is about integrity,
Mm,
right? And the integrity portion is like, do I have integrity with myself, right? When you think about, you make a commitment. This is what I want to do. This is how I see it. This is
yeah,
why the holding the vision is so important. This is how I see it. This is what I want to do. Now somebody gave me the process to do it.
right.
I've committed to doing it. What happens when it's been a rough day and you break that commitment, right? Now I'm out of integrity with myself.
Mm.
And so what happens when someone tells you, "Hey man, like this morning, right? You thought I wasn't here, but I
I
was
was ready to
upstairs,
cuss you out.
right?" And it's like, "Oh, Frank
Send you an
broke his
invoice.
right. Frank broke his agreement with me,
Hmm.
right?" That was the initial thought, right? Or it could have been the initial thought. I don't know if that was the initial thought, but could have been, right? How do you feel when someone breaks an agreement with you?
Angry?
Angry.
Right.
So how do you feel when you break an agreement with you?
You know what? I say this to my clients, like we're so used to letting ourselves down
Mm-hmm.
so much
Yeah,
that it just becomes a habit
correct.
and we don't even second guess, right? If so I've been letting myself down for forever and so I'm just used to it. But if somebody else do it, it can make me upset.
Makes you
So
upset.
right. And so therefore I guess I'm holding someone else. Now that you say that, I guess that's like you hold other people to a higher standard than you do yourself.
No, you actually
No.
hold yourself to the same standard. You just express it differently,
Mm,
right? And
okay.
so you, like you said, you become used to it. So then that becomes your, right, when you start a fitness journey, it becomes your, well, I'm going to let myself down anyway. subconsciously.
Subconsciously. Yeah.
And so when you don't keep your commitment in that meal, it just becomes, well, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to let myself down anyway. Right? And so that's in the background plan. That's not the conscious thought. And so it's just about getting back in integrity with ourselves.
Right.
Telling ourselves the truth. I didn't work out today because I did not feel like it. I can work out tomorrow. Right? And that's a muscle. That integrity muscle is a muscle.
Yeah,
I just want to keep my word to myself. And when I know I'm not going to do what I said I'm going to do, I acknowledge that. And I acknowledge it without judgment.
Okay.
Because the judgment puts the brakes on.
So if I am fitness journey, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to the gym today. And then work happens, this happened. I'm just like, I'm too tired. I'm not going.
Right.
And so I've let myself down in a sense, right? Because I'm not doing this task or this goal that I said I wanted to do.
Right.
So you're saying that if I don't do that, I need to just be honest with myself. Like, okay, I didn't go today, but let me make sure I go tomorrow.
Make sure I go tomorrow, but also acknowledge that I didn't go today. Okay. Right? I didn't go today. Why? Why didn't you go today? It wasn't a priority as much as these other things was.
For sure.
Right? And tomorrow I can make it a priority.
Yeah.
But the me not making time or me running out of time or me having to do these other things is not the truth. It wasn't a priority for me today. And then I need to check and say, why am I even doing it? We do what we want to do.
We bring it back to our why.
Why do I want to even lose weight?
Why do I even want to? I want to take pictures in the summer with my shirt off.
Right, but why is that important?
Because I want to be sexy.
Why do I want to be sexy?
Because it looks nicer on Instagram to get more likes and views. I don't know. Listen, right. But it can, right? The why can keep going and going.
Right.
But there's definitely have to be a why, but then there has to be like some type of conversation you have with yourself. And that's what I'm kind of hearing you say. Like,
absolutely.
You have to have that conversation with yourself as you're on this journey of whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, and most of the time it comes down, I'll just, spoiler alert for anybody that you work with or I work with. A lot of times, like 99% of the time, it comes down to self-worth. I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, or I'm not enough, right? So once you get that out of the way and you realize I am good enough, I am worthy, and I am enough, then everything else, because I want it.
Because I want it.
It doesn't become a requirement. Now it's just because I want it.
What you want it.
I want it. And once I want it, I get to choose it.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
My self-worth is not tied to whether I do it or not. I get to do it. The pressure comes when we feel like if I don't do this, then I'm not worthy of X, Y, and Z. If I don't make $1 million in my lifetime, did I waste my life? Yeah. Right? I don't have to do it. I want to do that, but I don't have to do it.
You don't have to.
It doesn't increase or decrease my worth. I just get to. I get to play. Now I wake up and play. That's another workshop I do called Play. Practice loving and accepting yourself.
Practice love and accepting yourself.
Now I get to play every day.
Yeah.
I get to hold myself accountable because there's results I want, but whether I hit them or not doesn't change my self-worth, my self-perception. I just get to play. Then I get to wake up and play again. I did it today. Yes.
I get to do it again.
Oh, I didn't do it today. Or I didn't get the result I wanted today. But holding myself accountable, and when I don't make the time or make something a priority that I wanted to, I'm honest about it. I just didn't make that a priority today.
So what happens when you continue to not make it a priority continuously?
Well, you have to be honest about what you want.
Yeah.
That's all of this is like conversation, which is why coaches are so valuable, or anybody, like, right, if you got friends who are coaches, you got barbers, someone that we trust that can reflect to us ourselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's your partner that you can trust, and they can say, hey, this is what I see, this is what you said you wanted, but this is what you're doing.
What you're doing.
Why is that? Like, ask yourself. And it's really a personal discovery. It's like a personal journey that you get to go on. And if you're continuously letting yourself down, you got to have a conversation with yourself about why.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because, like, in coaching and helping people, I ask people this question, and it's just like, do you actually really want that? Or are you just saying that because it sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Because you hear everybody else regurgitating the same
Right.
stuff over and over. So you're like, oh, yeah, that's a good goal. Oh, yeah, I want to make 100K. I want to make 6 figures or 100K a month. Like, that sounds good.
Right.
But then it's like the work you actually got to put in to make it is like, do you even actually want this to be the goal? Because you don't even want to do the work, right? And so there's a reason you're not doing the work.
Correct. And in coaching, we get to find that reason. There's sometimes it's 12 layers deep. Sometimes it's a worth thing. Sometimes it's just a belief thing. I've never seen it before. I've never seen anybody do it before. And so that's why belief is so important. It's fuel.
Yeah.
Belief is more important than knowledge, right? If you ever seen what's that? The book of the movie with the movie with I always forget his name, Keith or something, but it's about, he's like Jesus, or he's like trying to trick Jesus or become the second Jesus. I
it's
forgot.
a newer movie.
It's a Jay-Z movie. I forgot the name of it, right?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
His whole thing is knowledge is more powerful than belief, right? He feel like if you know something, it's better than believing it, right?
Right.
Which is that is the comedy of that movie, because they know belief is more powerful than knowledge.
Right.
If you believe it, you will figure out a way to make it happen, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
Belief is powerful.
That's so dope, man. So as an entrepreneur, someone that's watching, they just need to believe that they can do it. What is it? Be, do, have?
Be, do, have.
Be, do, have. Believe you can do it.
Believe you are it.
Believe you are it. What's the next one?
Do the things.
Do the things.
And then you'll have the results.
Believe it. Do it. Okay. I like that. That is such a dope perspective, man. And I think that anybody that's watching this can understand or can have an aha moment in themselves, right? Because if you want to be great, if you want to make the money, if whatever it is, you have to believe that you can do it and become it. Because once you become it, you are, because it's like bringing it back to what you were saying about like a straight A student. It's like, what does a straight A student do?
Right.
Right. And so then are you doing these things that a straight A student do? And once you start doing those things, then you can get those results.
Right. Are you seeing yourself as a straight A student? For example, like, and this is why, like I said, I appreciate you. So, but I can see the belief that you have in yourself, because you're always willing to do, right? You're always willing to be. Stuff that you don't know how to do, you just do it. You go and I'll figure it out.
Find out a way.
I'm going to find out a way, because you already see yourself as an entrepreneur who helps entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right? That's who you are.
For sure.
That's who you decided to be.
Yeah.
Right? So coming here on a Saturday, driving across town to do an event, networking, talking to people, you don't have to convince yourself to do those things.
For sure.
Because you're an entrepreneur who's committed to helping entrepreneurs. And the result is you meet a bunch of people, and at some point you have a vision for yourself. That vision has no choice but to become a reality. Yeah. Has no choice. No matter what it looks like in between. Okay. It's holding the vision long enough for it to become reality. Most people quit when it doesn't look like the vision becomes real. They don't realize they're in the process.
Yeah.
You're in the process.
Yeah.
Everybody you hear that is successful will tell you their story.
Yeah.
I used to sleep in my car. I used to do this, right? It's all a process.
Yeah.
The Bible says you will have trials and tribulations.
For sure.
You
So-
will. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of bring it back, right? YouTuber, podcaster. I want to get to the next level. So therefore, I need to be a top podcaster. I'm just trying to bring it back to understand, to bring it back to me. So therefore, if someone else is watching, they can hone in on what you're teaching and put their self in their shoe. Right. So be do have. I want to have the number one podcast in the bank. So I need to be a top producing podcast. Stir.
Right.
And I need to believe it, and I need to do the things that a top podcaster would do. Right. And it's crazy that you say that, because I released the episode like a week or two ago, and I realized, like, dang, this video didn't get as many views as even my other ones.
Right.
And then I had to look at, what did I do? What was my habits? Like, what strategy, as you say, strategy that I put behind it? And I realized, like, I didn't promote it like that, like I should have. Like, I've done my other ones, or I posted the content consistently. Like, right, I'll take the content, I'll break it down into clips. I'll post those clips on social media to get people to see it and be like, oh, I want to watch that episode.
Right.
I didn't do that. So now I'm just like, dang, my results are how they are, because I didn't implement my strategy that I usually would do.
Right.
On
And
episodes.
that's just one portion of it, right?
Right.
And it may be the question of, okay, I didn't do that. What else can I do? But here's the other thing. This is what I'm learning, and I was just telling Cam, like, my year is simplification.
Yeah.
So what I'm learning now is not necessarily how, but who. Not necessarily how, but who. If this is my goal, who do I know is getting this results, or is helping me, or can help me get the results I want?
For sure.
Who?
Yeah.
Let me just ask that question. Because sometimes how, we thinking about it, and that's how we become solopreneurs and all of that. But who? Who can I partner with?
Yeah.
Right? It was a blessing to come here and be able to talk to Cam. Oh, Cam's a who?
Listen, stop mentioning Cam's name, man. We not talking about Cam, man. Dang.
Right? But
Cam.
Right. But
No,
truthfully, he's a who.
Sure. Yeah.
He's a who.
Definitely.
And so that's kind of where I am in my business and my model, figuring out who can I partner with to do the things.
Yeah.
And for you, back to your point of, like, anybody out there that's doing, and like I said, it's about grace. You got to have grace when you go through this process, for yourself, for others. And by no means do I have it all figured out, but like I said, I figured out I get to play every day. Right. I get to do what I love and take care of my family.
For sure.
And to the scale that I can see myself doing that, I just want to increase that. And for somebody like you, as being a podcaster, the being is, I see myself. What is number one in the Bay Area or wherever look like? Yeah. What would you be doing? How would you show up? How would you sound? Yeah. How would you feel? All of that, you get to bring that into right now.
Right.
You get to bring that into right now.
Sure. That's dope.
No one host. I'm going to refer to you as the number one podcast from
number
now on.
one.
Right?
Yeah.
You hear that. Then you start to, that's how you build belief.
Right.
The more times you hear yourself say it, belief is built.
You know what, my phone? I'm about to
belief is built.
Look. Okay.
It's not like it's not a fake it till you make it. It's not any of that. It's belief is built.
I'm grabbing my phone. I'm not being unprofessional, but I am grabbing my phone, and you know, tell you what I'm about to do. I'm putting number one podcaster.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. That's what I'm doing.
We build belief.
There we go.
You build your performance.
Yep.
Life is the performance. You get to build it out. Failure
Okay.
is part of the process.
Because I believe it. I believe it. So I'm putting it out there so y'all can see. All right, man. Listen, this has been a very good conversation. And I definitely appreciate you because I learned something um, that has like ignited in me, right? I feel like a fire in me, like, oh, yeah, I want to go
Same,
and do
man.
some, you feel me? So
right.
I really appreciate you. Do you have anything coming up?
Right now, I am about to launch, and I'm excited about this project. So I've been working on this for a minute, and I finally got a platform I'm really going to use and enjoy. So my company's goal is to make mental performance a regular part of every sports practice.
Okay.
Right? With young athletes, right? Because they're learning so much, and they learn a lot of doing,
Right.
not a lot of being. Right? And so their confidence is really, really fragile as they learn to decide, or they are learning who they are becoming.
For sure.
They don't get taught, they get to decide. Right? So the platform that I'm building is some confidence courses,
Okay.
but also a monthly program where we help young athletes be accountable for the work, and they get to decide in this program who they want to be as an athlete, right? And we partner with parents because parents, one thing I know about parents, three things I know about parents. One, they want their child to do well, they want them to be safe, and they want the best for them.
Yeah.
And so we get to partner and say, this is how we support your child in the goals that they have athletically, which ultimately transfers into life skills. So it's a monthly membership. They come on, they learn. I got coaches coming on. They can learn from each other. But we give them tasks to complete so that they have a level of accountability, but they get a level of awareness that they may not get by just going to practice, right? Just like working out with a private trainer, right? It's all about their mindset, what they believe about themselves, and the choices that they get to decide.
Okay. All right. And so how can people find you? How can people reach you?
Frank
Someone
Clayton
watched
Jr.
this and they was just like, man, that's dope. He's dope. I want to work with him, or I just want to follow him to see him more. How can people find you?
So a couple of different ways. You can go to frankclaytonjr.com,
Okay.
frankclaytonjr.com, or Arc for the Win on Instagram, or Arc for the Win on YouTube.
Arc for the Win on
ARC,
Instagram
yep.
and YouTube.
ARC for the win.
Okay. I appreciate you, and thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
This was a really, really good conversation. This was a really dope episode. One of my favorites so far. And so, man, I appreciate it for real. Because I'm ready to go back and watch this, and like, I think sometimes we're so busy like just doing that we miss the part of like the education part, right? And so it's just like, oh, I'm just watching this, or I'm just playing this in the background while I'm doing whatever. But it's just like sometimes some valuable information is said where you need to like write that down, think about that, answer those questions, and implement them into ourselves, our everyday life, right? So I think definitely what you, however much you charge, it's definitely worth it. And if you ever want to give some free services to me, I am more than accepting as well too, right? Because every coach need a coach, right?
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you.
No, for sure.
Is there any last thing you would like to say to the people?
No, yeah, man. Believe in yourself. Ask quality questions of yourself, and if you don't have a coach, if you're a bit in business or anything, I think everybody can benefit from a coach. Whether you're a parent, if you want to do something, you want to go from one level to the next, get yourself a coach in that arena.
For sure. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all watching another episode of the Entrepreneur Podcast. The Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Listen, if you just watch this and you still ain't like this video and subscribe, you really a hater. But now is your time to change your belief in yourself and not be a hater, and subscribe to this podcast.
Right.
And as you're watching this, there's going to be some stuff popping up on the video on another episode that I did that'll also be good for you to watch too. So click on that and watch the next video, and we'll see you next time. Peace.